Last month, we started a brand new LEGO Minecraft world because, let's face it, I was never going to be able to stay away from this good old blocky building. Things are shaping up to be quite different this time around though, with more detail than ever before, and I'm integrating lighting throughout each module. Today, we're further expanding our windswept Savanna village with a humble farmhouse, and all sorts of other surprises too along the way. So, sit back, relax, and let's get to building. A lot of you asked what has become of the original LEGO Minecraft world. You know, the big 50-episode behemoth. Well, I'm happy to report it's actually still alive. You can even go see it for yourself right now because it's on display at Bricks and Minifigs in Roseville, Minnesota. So if you ever find yourself in the Minneapolis area, go and check it out. The display will also be making its way down to Brick Days in Omaha, Nebraska at the end of April 2026. More details to come on that later. For today's episode, we're starting out with a half-chunk module. And I hope you don't mind if right out the gate I lay down just a few tiles here. Because these new modules for the Savanna Village have a bit of elevation built into them, I want to hide a cave down below. It's just going to make this module a bit more interesting, and right away, when we have dark spaces like this, we better add some lighting. And once again, a huge thank you to Light My Bricks for supplying the lighting for this project. We're going to use one of their 3 docks here. That means we can plug in 3 separate lights. And the first light is going to go towards lighting up a furnace, something that I really wanted to do in the last world, but I didn't, unfortunately. I'm using the same micro light that I used for the torches in last month's episode, and it works perfect here, fitting very smoothly between the pips that I've placed at the bottom of this furnace. And in this episode too, I've got to bring back beautiful, beautiful sand red. I feel like I've gone on this spiel way too many times, but sand red is a long discontinued color that's very difficult to work with, very expensive, but thanks to some very generous people, I've gotten quite a bit of it over the years, and it's kind of the perfect color for granite patches, which, as you know, spawn everywhere in modern versions of Minecraft. With a bit of creativity, utilizing the 1x6 tiles, and using the other various plates and bricks that were once upon a time produced in this color, you can create some actual block-accurate terrain. Yeah, unfortunately, there was never 2x2 plates nor 2x2 tiles produced in this color. So there are limitations to what you can do, but that kind of just makes using it all the more fun and interesting. I'll probably add more granite patches in the future, but I definitely want to prioritize the other stone types too in this model. Since we do have some water in this build, I'm going to actually add a buried treasure chest. You know, one of those that you would uncover with a map found in a shipwreck. It's a super easy addition, and you'll even be able to take the sand blocks off the top to simulate digging it up. This section of riverbed is going to be significantly smaller than in the last module, but there's still room to add some of our lovely seagrass, and I'll also make sure to leave a spot for that pulsing blue light. The techniques here are exactly the same as we saw before, using the 1x1 5-petal flower pieces, as well as the big green tooth element for the taller seagrass. These are kind of perfect, they're holdovers from the first series. Don't fix what ain't broken. Things get really exciting though with this element. This is probably one of the rarest LEGO pieces in my collection. It's a transparent light blue 2x6 plate, and it's never appeared in an official LEGO set. This was a gift to me upon visiting Atlanta Brick Co. while I was on the Christmas special of LEGO Masters. They actually gave me a transparent red version of the plate while I was down there as well. These were likely specially produced for a LEGO model builder for one of the Legoland parks or a similar installation. I'd be pretty shocked if LEGO doesn't start producing these again, especially now that they're recoloring a lot of common elements into transparent colors. Only time's gonna tell though. But I figured I might as well flex this one while it's still cool to do so. It does serve a functional purpose though, giving this water overhang strength, considering that an 8x8 plate would have been a bit overkill for such a small space. And unlike last month's 8x8 plates, this is actually the right color and matches the rest of the water. I'm going to quickly add in the Speedrunner from this year's End Portal and Nether Portal set. It's an absolutely fantastic offering for $15 because you get the Hoglin, you get an Enderman, you get a Nether Portal, And finally, another end portal with a brand new Eye of Ender design. Lots to love here for the price. And I thought it might be fun to have our speedrunner here running into a slime chunk and slowly taking on a horde of slimes. I've included some dots here to represent the slime particles that release when these guys jump around. And I suppose these could be slime balls dropped by slimes that he's killed up to this point too. Your imagination is the limit. Now, our fun little cave has an unfortunate side effect in that it gives us very little room to figure out how to do the villager pathing above. So I've developed some new techniques that are actually a bit more streamlined than anything I've used before. You can see here just that subtle half a plate indentation, which will dictate where the path goes and where the regular grass goes. This feels like the final evolution of the indented village path technique, and it's certainly a far cry from whatever I was doing when I made my first village. It's good to know that I'm still learning all these years later. I'm gonna raise up the train just a single block on the right-hand side of the module here. That'll give us just a bit of extra room in the cave so you can actually, see inside. But the challenge is still going to be making sure that the underside of this next village path, or the continuation of it, is smooth and the correct color. We want it to be brown. So it's time to break out every brown snot brick I own to make this beauty. To the untrained eye, this looks like nonsense, but to us, this is gorgeous Minecraft perfectionism. The way this fits into place is just oh so satisfying. And trust me, when we take a look on the underside here, it's going to be exactly what we want to see and exactly what you'd expect to see if you pulled this out of the game. There's nothing but the smooth brown underside of the dirt blocks above. I think this technique is going to be especially useful as we continue the verticality of this build. Remember, there's going to be a lot of overhanging sections where we're going to need to be very efficient with our parts usage. Next up, I'm going to do the other half of the bridge that we did in episode 1, and this will help to give you a better idea geographically of where we are in this village too. These first two modules are going to go right up alongside each other. And while we're working on the ground, next up I'm going to add the floor of the farmhouse. This particular structure has a floor made up of acacia wood, and just like in the first episode, I'm going to be using textured old gray bricks to accomplish that. It does get a little tricky with the available parts, but I feel that this is much more interesting than just laying down some 2x2 old gray tiles. For lighting, I'm going to add a torch right here on top of the crafting table, and that should be good enough to illuminate the space and hopefully get some glow out the windows as well. We'll come back to the house in a moment, but I think we're actually in a really good position right now to start off some tiling time. Before I lay down all those wonderful familiar olive green pieces, I'm going to mark out a few other structures and walls that I'll be adding later on. These will all make sense in just a moment, trust me. And then of course, there's the essential olive green flower stems. I haven't run out quite yet. And here I'm just adding a bit more player-built flair in the form of just some retaining walls around the house. The structure on the far end is going to be a staircase up to the upper levels, kind of similar actually to what I did in the first LEGO Minecraft World's player base. Perhaps the single most essential element of the windswept savanna that we haven't tackled yet are the acacia trees. And so I'm going to give you a bit of a guide about how I go about building these. I'm not going to use the textured 1x2 bricks here just because it isn't feasible with the amount of crazy techniques and direction changes we need to pull off one of these trees convincingly. The old gray sells the look plenty well on its own and still makes it plenty difficult. The tree I'm replicating here is one that I pulled directly out of the game, but bear in mind as you make your own custom acacia trees that some of them just are simply not possible due to floating log blocks that you'll find. I came up with a fun technique to add that bit of dark orange you see on the underside of acacia logs. It just inverts a 2x2 jumper with the rounded 2x2 tile with a hole in it. The rest of the tree's construction is straightforward, though it does consume a lot of bricks. My main goal here is to create that first layer all sideways, and I want to lock that in place as much as possible and as often as possible with multiple different connection points at different angles. Funnily enough, the final result looks something like the Slave 1. I do enjoy that about this project. All of the Savanna trees are going to look very different from each other. This is actually a really nice one to start out with because the leaf layers just so happen to start on the same layer. Though if you remember from the previous Minecraft world, I've definitely done more complicated ones in the past, and they are indeed possible to do. They just tend to be a bit more fragile. This one's gonna be really nice and sturdy. Once it's all tiled up, it'll be ready to be added into the world. And I am going with dark green again, just because of the contrast that it provides with the olive green. If you're doing your own custom Savanna, by all means, go for the olive green. You could even add some texture in here, but there's just something I really enjoy about the dark green. I think it was a good choice for LEGO. That's what they use in their official sets after all. One thing that LEGO is not doing though is using old dark gray. And honestly, if you're just starting a LEGO Minecraft MOC, I think you're better off using dark bluish gray as well. There's so many more snot bricks that will help make your trunk a lot sturdier. It's just cheaper and easier. It's a great way to start out. Anyway, let's get to this house. I'm gonna start by making a double-sided door just so that it looks good on both sides, as it's going to be easier to see into the interior of this house. It's much bigger than the 1x3 interior of the fisherman's hut. And I'm going with the bright light orange, the Bionicle Keat orange color here. I think it just looks so vibrant among the rather dull greens and grays of the terrain. And that's one of the reasons I picked the Savanna Village to begin with. It just has great colors all around. If we go around the back side of the model, you can see the interior here. Actually, that fourth wall is going to be in the previous module. That'll be a very quick and easy addition, and in the interior, I'll also add a bed. Now it's time for the roof, which is going to be a bit more complicated, just like the last one as well. So I'm starting with this snot technique filled 10x10 plate, and I'm slowly going to attach that classic stair design that makes use of the 1x2 bracket piece. The goal is to make this, as always, smooth on the underside, smooth on the top. And where possible, I'm differentiating each theoretical block with 1x2 dark orange tiles instead of, say, like a 1x6 or a 1x8. It just adds more of that texture you want to see in here. I'm so glad that this dark orange 1x2 bracket exists. I really don't know how I would do this village accurately without it. I think it's been appearing in sets since 2023, and it's been in 21 sets now, so the price is coming down too, which is really nice. Definitely going to be using a lot more of it before the series is out. In the top middle here, I've decided to use some masonry bricks just to get some more of that plank texture. That ended up working out pretty slick. The roof becomes a very, very dense build. This is not going to break easily at all, which is always a plus. That's one of the beautiful things about building in LEGO Minecraft, I suppose. They're solid, heavy creations, and it's gonna stud down securely on top. Though in the future, I might sub those plates out for jumpers to make it easier to remove. It's nice this time around because I don't have any lights attached to the ceiling, so I don't have to worry about ripping any wires out. Anyway, that's our build done. Let's add a few extra figures, like this here custom iron golem. I've got a tutorial on how to make this, and it is indeed an updated version with a lot more detail than what I included in the previous world's iron golem, so check it out. I also sent a bunch of pre-built custom golems to my mom to sell on her Bricklink store. The first batch sold out extremely quickly, so I dropped off a bunch of fresh ones at Christmas. I'll leave a link to the store down below so you can buy your own. And also note that there's some other custom mobs still available there, like the Phantom and some Withers. And of course, I'll also be adding another farmer villager, the same one that's included in the llama village. And just for fun, I'm going to add a baby Savanna villager jumping on the bed here. And now it's time, for the first time, to connect two modules from the Savanna Village world together. I'll be using that new axle format, and we'll see how it works. I think it's going to be a ton easier. I'm only so hesitant because I don't want to smash the wires underneath here, though they are quite durable. I haven't managed to destroy any yet, which is a good sign. I definitely want to see how these look lit up together. Should be pretty fun. let's turn on the lights. And would you look at that? Our village is starting to come together here. I'm really glad you guys have encouraged the player added segments like the bridge and the little wall. I think that adds a lot. It makes the village less chaotic than what you would find in game, and I think this makes for a better display piece because of it. The colors are really everything I wanted them to be. There's a lot of warm and cozy vibes here, especially with the addition of the lights too. And I think that's gonna wrap up today's episode. Next time we're gonna go underground and fill out some of that cliff section. And I think the plan for now is to include a dungeon there. That module is going to have a lot more underground space than what we are working with today, so I think we can have a lot of fun with that. But as always, thanks so much for tuning in. I really do appreciate it, especially if you made it all the way out here to the end. I hope you have a great life, and I'll see you next time.